Look for happiness in today. Look for the best part in your struggle. I really need you to calm down, okay? I really need you to calm down. No, let myself be a human just like everybody else. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Women Talk Podcast. You're here with your host, Jabri, and this is episode number 11 of season number 2. Hey guys, I'm very excited to be back with you guys as I am always. I hope you're having an amazing day, an amazing week, an amazing year thus far, and we're going to get straight into the episode today. So today's topic, actually chosen by you all, is the 5 steps to becoming your authentic self. Now, of course, there are going to be more than 5 steps to becoming your authentic self. Obviously, but I compiled a list of 5 different steps that I think will definitely help you get there and start to figure out what else you need to do to become your authentic self. So if you are interested in becoming the most authentic version of you, stay tuned. Okay, so we're first going to start by listing out the steps to becoming your authentic self. Step number 1 is shadow work. Step number 2 is introspection. Step number 3 is identifying your core values. Step number 4 is working on your self-worth and self-perception. And then step number 5 is releasing fear of judgment. Now, obviously, we're going to break down each step and kind of go into what each one means and what you need to actually do to complete those steps. But first, I just want to start by speaking on what it means to be authentic. Now, I actually don't have a textbook definition of authenticity today, which I probably should. But for me, what it means to be my authentic self is to live in my truth no matter what. Now, that doesn't always mean the prettiest things. That doesn't always mean the best and the brightest things. Sometimes it means the worst. And we're going to discuss all that by getting into the first step. So the first step that we're going to discuss today is shadow work. Now, shadow work, I'm sure you guys hear that a lot. If you're on TikTok, you know they be trying to sell you that shadow work journal. But it's a word that, of course, I want to kind of dive deeper into. So shadow work, as described by Google, is working with your unconscious mind to uncover the parts of yourself that you repress and hide. You repress and hide those things usually from trauma, parts of yourself that you consider undesirable, different things like that. Cosmopolitan actually had a kind of different definition of shadow work, and I think Cosmopolitan buttoned it up very nicely. And they said it's a process of inner alchemy in which you bring those unwanted parts to the surface to purify, heal, and integrate into yourself. So basically, going inside, figuring out all that icky stuff, all the stuff that you don't like about yourself, all the traits that are just terrible and that you're like, why do I do that? Why do I act like that? Why do I think that? Why do I say that? Am I a bad person? No, you're not. Everybody has bad thoughts. Everybody thinks bad things. And in order to be your authentic self, you need to figure out what those bad thoughts are, why you're having those bad thoughts, and either heal those parts of yourself or find ways to integrate those parts into yourself. So we all know it's not the best to be a very snappy person. We all know it's not the best to have a short fuse. And I do. I'm one of those people. I have a very, very short fuse, to be honest. I be thinking I have patience, but when I talk to other people, they be like, girl, no. And I'll be like, yeah, you're right. But yeah, I'm a person with a very, very short fuse. So when I found that out, I figured out why. It would take us all day for me to tell you why I have a short fuse, but another story for another day. Trauma, all types of stuff. And I don't like that about myself. I want to change it, and I want to be better about, my fuse being short. So once I identified that work that needed to be healed within me, I healed it, but I also do use that to my benefit. If people are messing with me out in the wild, I'm definitely going to pull that snappy personality out very quickly. I can do it super quick. It's ready. It's on top. It's really like, it's ready. I'll be ready for somebody to just push the button. Just push my button. But I try to be patient. I try to do the best that I can to, keep it buttoned up and keep it classy out here. But if I need to, I can take that part that I felt like was like one of the worst traits about me and use it to my benefit whenever I need to. And shadow work will help you do that 100%. And now you're also not just ignoring the snappy part of yourself, because she's still going to be there. You can try to ignore her all you want to, but she's still going to be inside wanting to snap every time something goes wrong. And if you just let that build up, you're probably going to end up snapping. So instead, I use my shadow work to be my authentic self and integrate that part of my personality into my personality in a way where it works for me and it doesn't hurt anybody else. And if it does, it hurts people that need to get hurt in that moment. Okay, so step number 2 is introspection. Now, I think we all have, or we all should have, a healthy level of introspection. But when working on being your authentic self, you're probably going to have to dive a little bit deeper, a little bit beyond that healthy level of introspection, and do probably more introspection than you are comfortable with. Probably more than you want to do, more than it feels good to sit with and to actually do. I'm a very introspective person. I literally think all day. I think all day, and not only about things, but about myself, about my traits, and obviously, again, there's a healthy level of introspection. You don't want to do so much introspection that you can't actually do the work that you're supposed to do. You don't want to be so in here that you're not actually able to be out here with the rest of us. But you do want to look at your actions and why you do them. That is going to be one of the most important parts to becoming your authentic self. Why do you do that? What about you made you do that? What about you made you do that action? Is that actually a part of you? Or is it a part of somebody else that you adopted from somewhere? Once you start asking yourself, why do I do that? You'll recognize what actually came from you, what you picked up from your mother, what you pick up from your friends, what you pick up from the people around you, what unhealthy habits and healthy habits you pick up from the outside world. And it will start to put things into perspective for you, because again, you'll start to realize why you do things and what things you should do and what things you shouldn't do, what really feels like you and what doesn't feel like you. You can actually sit down and say, when I gave that man $20 the other day, was that me or was that the people pleaser in me? Because now I'm broke, sit down and really figure it out, because you were being nice, but realistically, you probably wouldn't have given that man your $20. And you probably need that $20. But you were just being nice. Do you really need to be nice all the time? I don't know. Is that authentically? But if that's authentically you, if it is authentically in you to give when you don't have it, show up as yourself. Now, is that the smartest way to be? I don't know, but that's a different episode. We can talk about giving things away when we don't have things to give, pouring into other people's cup when we don't even have a full cup of our own, but that's another episode. Yeah, think about why you do things that you do. Introspection. Please think. All right. So number 3, identify your core values. Now, this may seem like an easy step. None of these steps are easy. I just want to start there. None of these steps are easy. And this one may seem easy, oh yeah, I know, no, don't kill, the 10 commandments. These are my core values. But when you really sit down and think about what your values are and what they mean to you and why they mean that, again, introspection and shadow work. Just go down the list. Once you do that shadow work, you'll start to realize more and more the things that you do, the things that you don't do, and you can start to, when you realize what you do and what you don't do, then think about it. Think about why you do that thing, introspection, and then you can decide, do you want that thing that you do to be a part of your core values? Do you want giving to be a part of your core values? Do you want standing up for yourself or standing up for other people to be a part of your core values. That's a moment where you get to decide. I can't really tell you much, honestly, about how to decide on your core values because core values are so specific to all of us. They are so specific. Like, none of our core values are the same. I know it. Whether it be changed by a word, an amount, a feeling, just something very small can change things for everybody. So you really have to decide what works for you. For me personally, my core values are very, I don't want to say loose, but they are very changeable, very moldable. I know that like about myself. And that's one of my core values is to never be, you know what I'm saying, the same all the time, to continue growing and changing and making sure I leave space and room to be able to grow and change and not lock myself so hard into one position that I feel weird when I decide to do something different and tell people I'm doing something different. That's definitely one of my core values. But it took me years to figure that out. I didn't just wake up one day like, oh, I love to learn and I want to learn forever and I want to grow forever. Like, I actually had to decide on one set of core values and then my life changed. And it was like, wait, this doesn't fit me anymore. So now we have to update my core values to go along with my life. All right. So number 4 is self-worth. Work on your self-worth and your self-perception. I have an entire video on self-confidence, self-worth, whatever you want to call it. I talk about it all in that video. I will link it in the description and I'm going to figure out how to put it on the screen. But I have an entire video on self-worth. So I'm not going to touch on that topic too hard. But what I will say, most things in life depend on your self-worth. Like, literally, as you can see, it's been a common theme repeating in a lot of these videos because most things in life depend on a good sense of self-worth. And if you do not have that, this is no different. It's going to make it super hard to be your authentic self if you do not have a good sense of self. Like, if you don't, how do you be your authentic self if you don't appreciate yourself? If you don't think you're worthy? Why would you be yourself if you don't think you're worthy? That's why a lot of people get on the internet and copy other people's personalities, or again, like copy their mom's personality or their dad or their friend. It's because they don't even have they don't know it. They don't like it. They don't like themselves. They literally don't have and I'm laughing when I say this, like I'm smiling, but this is not funny. Like, they literally don't have a sense of self. If you don't love yourself and you don't value yourself, then you won't see the value that your personality has out in the world. You're not going to think that the world needs someone like you. So why would you be your authentic self if you don't love yourself? It's simple. I love myself from my head to my toes, literally. And I feel like the things that I'm saying need to be out in the world. I feel like the things that I'm saying are good. I think they're helpful. I think I'm a helpful person. Therefore, I put myself out there and show you guys what I have to say, let you listen to me. There are so many people who think just like I do. There are so many people who have good things to say, want to help people, want to see the world be a better place, just like I do. But they don't act on it because they don't believe that they are good enough to put themselves out in the world. They don't believe that they don't see their value. I see your value, girl. Put yourself out in the world, but it's okay. All these videos I'm making, they're to help you specifically. I see your value, girl. All right. And the last thing that I'm actually not going to talk about is releasing fear of judgment. I'm not going to talk about that today because I want to make an entire separate video on releasing fear of judgment. That's actually the next video that I'm going to be putting out. So stay tuned for that one because I'm super excited to talk to y'all about that. There will be some repeating themes in all these videos, but it's important that I repeat these themes because you should be repeating these themes in your life every day. But yeah, release fear of judgment. I don't want to say too much about it, but what I'm just going to start off by saying, or button this section up by saying, is we are all human. That man is no better than you. That woman is no better than you. We all eat and shit. Remember that, okay? There is nobody on this earth that can judge you. The only person that can judge you is you and a higher power if you believe in one. And that's all I'm going to say on that today. Okay, so I'm just going to leave you all off with some do's and don'ts that I'm reading from my handy dandy notebook, of course. Remember that you are not perfect. You're going to fuck up. That's how life works. You're going to do something out of character. You're going to do something that's not your authentic self. And I promise you, it's okay. The fact that you realize that that's not a part of your authentic character just means that you know yourself and you know who you are. So just do better next time. It's fine. Don't be hard on yourself for surviving. Okay, so we get very caught up out here, like, in the work of it all. Like, literally, we say, okay, be yourself. And then we go work 9 to 5s where we don't get to be ourselves, where we have to button everything up and hide our boobs and, do everything that we don't like to do on a regular basis. Not talk about our religion, not talk about anything too deep. Don't be hard on yourself for surviving. We all have to live, okay? We all have to work. We all have to have a job. And it's okay if your job doesn't always fit with who you are authentically. That's okay. Remember to take space in your life to have time where you are your authentic self. Remember to have people that you can be around that let you be your authentic self. Don't leave work and then come home and continue to button up and never get to be yourself. Remember, it's okay to survive. We're all in certain clubs. We do certain things. If your parents want you to go to church, baby, I'll correct a church and then go home and do whatever you need to do. Okay? Know that you might upset people. You probably are going to upset people. I said might because you never know. Okay? You never know. Everybody's different. Everybody's parents are different. The world is different. Who knows? But you're probably going to upset somebody by being yourself, because that's just how it works. You don't like everybody. So why would you expect everybody to like you? You just shouldn't. Remember to communicate honestly. You cannot be your authentic self if you're out here lying to people. It's almost impossible. How? Like I said, of course, if you're at work and you had to lie to your coworker about what you did this weekend, nobody cares. But you can't be lying to your friends thinking you're going to be yourself out here. That's not being yourself. Tell people the truth, communicate honestly, set boundaries, do what you need to do to be yourself. And people will appreciate you a lot more for it, I promise. And don't be afraid to follow trends if that's what you like. People get so caught up on trying to be different that they forget that it's okay to be the same. Being the same is what brings us all together. Like I said, we all eat and we all shit. Literally. Unless you constipated, girl, we all eat and we all shit. So we all have something that brings us together. Everybody's gonna like something that's similar. Even if it's 100 people in the room and one person likes something, there's gonna be one other person in the room that likes that thing too. I can almost guarantee it. So just don't forget that it's okay to like trends. You don't always have to be a trendsetter. You can just live. It's fine. You can literally just live. You don't always have to be the girl that's on the hottest things, that's always different, that does things different than everybody else. I promise you, we'll like you just the same. I know you want to be a fashion killer. I know you want to be different so bad. Put the trend on and be quiet and sit down. And if you don't want to put the trend on, again, if that's not you, don't do it. Be yourself. When I say be yourself, I mean be yourself. Whatever makes you, do that thing. Please. Yeah. Those are all my do's and don'ts. Those were my tips. That was my 5-step process. Hopefully you guys are working on being yourselves out here, because that's all I'm trying to do. I'm honoring myself by being on YouTube and telling y'all this information. This is me being myself. So yeah. Oh, I'll just add this too. I always get like a thought in my mind, because the way that I am now, like the way that I come to you guys and I give information and stuff like that, I've been like this. I've been like this for a long time in my friendships and in my personal relationships and stuff like that. But the people in my friendships with me and the people in my personal relationships were not looking for this person. They were not looking for me to have a 5-step process on how to heal them. Like they weren't looking for that. A lot of times my friends or my significant other or my mother or my sister, they just want me to listen. So I was honoring myself by trying to give good information to people, but I had to realize that I wasn't putting the good information in rooms that it needed to be in. I had to figure out, where do people actually want to listen to me? Where can I put my information in a place that people actually want to listen to it? And that's here. So this is the way that I decided to honor being my authentic self. I was being my authentic self out of my life before, like just, with other people. But it was hard because people weren't wanting to listen to that. People loved me for being myself, but I just wasn't being myself in the correct spaces. So remember that as well. This is an impromptu tip. Remember to be yourself in the correct spaces that honor you being yourself. Because if you are authentic in spaces that don't honor your authenticity, then it's going to be very, very hard to continue on that road. It's going to be very hard to continue to just be your authentic self because you're not being appreciated for it. So yeah, that's really it this time. Hopefully I'll see y'all next week. I'll be here. Will you be here? Because I'll be here. So hopefully I'll see you. Hopefully we'll be here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, leave me feedback. If you don't want to leave me public feedback, you can always message me on Instagram. My Instagram is at JabriZD or Woman Talk Podcast on Instagram. My Twitter is JXBRXX. My TikTok is JabriZD as well. You can message me on all of those platforms and I will answer you. I love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. If you listen to the end, again, you made it. If you listen to the end, I'm going to start doing this. If you listen to the end, just comment a red heart. You don't got to say nothing else but a red heart. And if you do that, I promise you I'm going to give you $5. I'm lying. But I love y'all. I hope y'all have a good day. I hope this was a good episode with lots of information. Yeah. Bye.